Hey again guys, so in today's brief video I'll be covering three main things. Firstly, I'll give some update on the upcoming Stone Pack Lucky Draw livestream. Secondly, I'll give some brief key information regarding the new update. I don't want to offer a lot of shallow and potentially inaccurate takes on these things, or to speculate too much, as I prefer more solid facts, concrete information and deeper analysis. So to me it makes a lot more sense to do a more concrete version 26 update video in a week or two. That way I've had more time to digest it all, discuss with knowledgeable people, learn meta developments, and overall just know with greater confidence that the information I give you is as accurate and as clear as possible. And other content creators such as Greeny, Lycona, Primo, and more have already done a good job of covering what the update introduces, and their thoughts on what they think this may entail for the future. So check them out if you want more of that. But so instead, I just want to cover some key information that I think is super important that you know as early as possible. The rest we'll cover deeper in the future. And then the third thing for today's video is an update about my Discord server, which was open to the public last week and now has over 150 members and 7 guilds in it. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into these things. First of all, what a crazy week it has been. I can't believe it has been only a week since I started the Stone Pack giveaway. It almost feels like an eternity, especially considering all the progress that has happened on every front after that. So, we reached the 1,000 subscriber milestone and surpassed it to 1,200. Which is just wild, and so thank you ever so much for all your support. And first, I must say that it was just insane and so heartwarming to read all of your kind and interesting messages on that video. Some were almost too nice, which makes me suspect that maybe you thought that being extra nice would increase your chances for the Stone Pack. But no, that would be a completely random pick. But so yeah, that was just wild and I hadn't imagined such success from it all. And to pay my respect, I've responded to every single comment on that video. There was of course the inevitably few who referenced their shopping grocery list or their grandma. Then it was those who cheat for everybody, and then the vast majority was sharing about what they would use the stones on if they were to win. And it was so cool to learn all the great things you're all planning for. Reading all the hundreds of comments, I really wish I could help you all. But the individuals I felt extra strongly for though were those who share their stories of being without Black Hole or Golden Tower for months or even years. That was rough to hear, and part of me are especially cheering for you guys in the Lucky Draw. And that brings me to the Lucky Draw itself, which will be held at 9 PM Eastern Time on Saturday, March 8th. What I planned for that live stream is to potentially have some small giveaways first among the viewers watching the live stream, and then we'll do the major Stone Pack draw. And just to be clear, you don't have to be a live viewer to win the Stone Pack. That is strictly based on the comments on the previous video. And I don't want the session to be too long as you all live busy lives and have other things to attend to, so I'm guessing it will take a maximum of 30 minutes total. But so yeah, that will be my first time doing a major live stream, which is both a bit scary and exciting. But to try to get somewhat used to it and set everything up, I had 2 practice sessions at going live earlier this week. I didn't think anyone was gonna notice, but then we suddenly were a group of 50 people on the live stream discussing the games in various ways and covering my tournament run, which was a lot of fun and really gave me some motivation to do more of these in the future. There were quite a few technical hiccups though, but I hope I got all of those under control now for the Lucky Draw. So yeah, March 8th, 9 PM Eastern Time. I hope to see you there. But even if you can't make it, I wish you good luck in the draw. Also, as some of the people on the server already knows, I live in Australia and we're about to face a massive cyclone with potential power outages. I hope and expect that it will have no impact on the scheduled live stream, but I wanted to share that just in case it does. If so, I will be updating via community posts. And as promised, I hope to do more giveaways in the future as well and use the ad revenue from the channel to do so. And so, through watching my videos or supporting me as a YouTube member, you help make that a reality. And I've been honored to be supported by a handful of YouTube members, which I'm eternally grateful for. And these YouTube members get custom emojis and badges on YouTube and various extra channels and access to me on the Discord server, among others. And while the ad revenue is not making me rich by any means at this point, it is a great start for future giveaways. For the next giveaway in the future though, I don't want to make it based on subscriber milestones, and instead we'll make it into something fun with a clear schedule of a winner announcement and so on. And it may possibly take place on the Discord server. We'll see. Okay, so enough about that, and now to the new game update, the version 26. So as mentioned, I don't like to speculate too much and instead prefer pure facts and analysis. So today I'm not going to go into depths about the update, nor cover all of it. To me, it will make a lot more sense to do that a few weeks from now. so that I'm sure the information I provide to you is as accurate and as clear as possible. So instead, I just want to cover some very important bits of information that has been perhaps less communicated and which I think are absolutely crucial to know. So the major introduction with this update was the guilds. And what I want to emphasize here is that if you are concerned about earning all the prizes you can in the game, then you should try to find a guild and try to have the guild size maxed as soon as possible. And if you haven't joined the guild yet, be sure to save your weekly mission chest. That's important because the chests are what contributes to the guild score with 5 points per chest. And as you may have realized, a guild can consist of up to 30 members, which results in the theoretical maximum points that a guild can achieve of 1050 guild tokens per week. And to get the top guild chest in a week, you need 750. So at first, it may sound easy to get the top prize, but for many, it could become hard, especially for the first week. And that is because many had opened their weekly mission chest before the guild update launched, and secondly that many have joined guilds late or small guilds, which have resulted in even less guild tokens. So that's why it's been so important to get into a guild and fill those up as soon as possible to get the top guild chest for this week. And so for example, if you had 25 members and you all contributed 30 guild tokens each, that would equal 750. Or you could be a group of 22 members with a maximum of 35 guild tokens each, and so on. But to be safe, you basically want to be in a full guild with active players as soon as possible. And so that's why we've been helping guilds recruit on our server, and the server consists of more than 7 guilds now that also have their own private Discord channel between their members. And because the server is now open to the public, if you're looking for a guild, drop in there and we'll help you out. The second thing I want to emphasize earlier about the new update is the guild shop. And what I wanted to make absolutely clear to all is that the guild tokens and bits that you earn for the guild shop will not stay in your inventory after the season ends. The items in the guild shop themselves will remain there until the end of the season, but then for the next season they will rotate to new items. But the important thing is that if you don't spend all of your guild currency before the end of the season, the game will automatically make purchases for you to ensure they're spent. In other words, this game currency doesn't roll over like event medals. And currently, it's not clear exactly what order the automatic purchases would be in if you were to keep digital currency at the end of the event. But please be aware of this. And in a future video, we'll talk more about the guild shop priorities and so on. And my third point about the version 26 update is about the new modules and the featured banner, and what this may mean for you going forward. Basically, if you didn't know already, one module has been introduced and with 3 more in the future. And you could use the new featured banner for increased chances to pull this module. And the featured banner will be rotating between new modules and old modules. So that means the next feature model will likely be an old one, and then it will alternate until all the new modules have been released. But right now, we don't know anything about the 3 new modules that will come in the future, and we don't know anything about which old module will be next in the featured banner, and so on. So what this means is that there are some key considerations you have to make for yourself. All of this may mean that for some of you, including myself, it could become advantageous to try to always have a decent buffer of gems on your account. Though, this is something you have to consider in relation to your own situation, and it also will greatly depend on what stage of the game you're at, and if you're buying gems and so on. But if you're early game, you generally shouldn't be saving up a lot of gems because of the opportunity cost lost, meaning the impact those gems would have had on your progress if you had spent them instead of hoarding them. And early on, you also have the card event mission and other things that make it harder to save up gems. However, eventually you get to a stage in the game where you're less concerned about the volume of pulls and more about getting a very particular module. And that you also eventually get your cards maxed, which makes it easier to save up gems. And so for example, what this update and the featured banner means to me is that I may start to always have a few thousand gems on me. For example, I may basically start to pretend that 2000 gems is my new 0 gems in my mind. That way, I'm always prepared. And say for example, if Dimension Core ever came to the featured banner, I could pull those a lot more, as I still need 4 copies of it for Ancestral. Or if one of the new modules that will be introduced later turns out to be super powerful, then I would have more gems to spend on it. But of course, at the same time, it can be hard to justify holding onto gems when in my case, one single copy of Galaxy Compressor would be of huge help to me, and it could be hiding in that stack of gems that I would be hoarding. But if I just think of those 2000 gems as 5-6 days of farming, then it's easier to digest. In other words, if I didn't hoard gems, I would pull the final G-Comp about 5 to 6 days earlier, if it was to show up in my module pulls. And I think that's an easier way to look at it, because 5-6 days is nothing in the grand scheme of things in this long game. So yeah, I likely will keep a buffer of about 2,000 gems, but maybe more, maybe 3,200, we'll see. The second key consideration I'm faced with right now, and probably many others, is that I'm not at a stage at all where the new module is useful for me. I don't really need damage for farming, and my singularity harness is by far the best right now. And for tournaments, I rely on Galaxy Compressor, which will get even more powerful once I get it to Ancestral. And once it's Ancestral, I may even start using it for farming runs and orbital strategies as well. But I can see in the very long-term future that the new module could become useful for me. For example, once I could do essentially glass cannon strategies for farming, once my cooldowns would be very low, once my chrono field had gotten maxed, and so on. Then I can foresee its benefits. So the dilemma is whether to skip it completely, get a few of it as a foundation for the future, or to invest heavily into it, though I don't need it at all right now. And as mentioned, I just simply need one more Galaxy Compressor to make it Ancestral, which makes it a lot harder to justify going hard into the new module when it will not have a direct impact, and it could be months or even a year before the new module would be relevant for me. And in that time, I obviously could have snowballing effects of Galaxy Compressor improving my tournaments and future farming and so on. So this is something you also have to consider for yourself in your own situation. By the end of this, I may end up with probably 4 copies of the new module to at least have a little bit of a foundation and make it mythic. But it's also a preference that may change if I realize that the new module has any new benefit that I hadn't thought of yet. Which is why it's good that I will anyways have 2,000 plus gems as a buffer for now, as that will help if I were to ever change my mind. And let me know in the comments what your thoughts are in regards to the new modules, the featured banner, and potentially hoarding gems. But to summarize my stance, I will start trying to always have at least 2,000 gems on me, and I will likely get some of the new modules, but not too hard into it. Only if I get extremely lucky with my pulls. So that's just some of the key observations that I want to share first. Later in a future video, I will share more about the guild rewards and my thoughts on the prioritization of the bits currency and guild tokens, further dive into the changes for the module mechanisms, I will further dive into the changes to the ultimate weapons, and so on. But I also just quickly wanted to add that they have fixed enemy level skips to not be random anymore. So for example, a 50% chance means that it would guarantee a skip every second wave. And that change by itself on my account has resulted in my farm wavelengths increasing by about 1,000, from around 9,000 waves to closer to 10,000 waves on tier 10. And oh, I don't like how they've included new relics in the event that are only available to those who pay, which just further increases the gap between the ones who pay and not. But since that's the new reality, I just hope at least they could add the event package on the Xala webshop so that we could do future giveaways for it. That also hurts my wallet less than a stone pack, but which of course also would be really helpful to anyone who doesn't buy those normally. And very lastly, as I know many of you have followed me for my Orb Devil strategies and guide, I do want to point out that you can now see the active enemy count in the wave info in your runs. And that could be very useful for those of you who are doing Orb Devil and are trimming enemies, as it can give you an idea if you're not trimming enough and are reaching maximum enemies to screen, which causes less enemies to spawn for you. So simply open the wave info in a run to see it, and keep in mind that it also counts every single small scatter as well. So yeah, that was some key quick bits that I wanted to cover. If you have specific questions or topics you'd like for me to cover for a future more in-depth analysis of the changes and recommendations, do let me know in the comments. And this all brings me to my third major point of today's video, my Discord server. So last week I opened up the Discord server to the public to help as many as possible. First, it was just to give people access to a community and organized resources such as links to relevant tools, helpful graphics, and anything in between. But as the guild feature was teased by the developers a few days before the actual release, it also quickly became a place where I could organize my own guild and help others organize theirs. And now we have about 7 guilds there who also have their own private guild channel, and more could be recruited if there is demand for it. And what I think is amazing with that server is that it has also become this fantastic community of helpful individuals from various guilds that help each other out, and I try my best to help there as well. As I've said before though, I don't want it to become a replica of the official Discord server, which is great in many ways but also has its flaws, which is inevitable when it consists of 80,000 people and when it's controlled by the game developers. So we have some greater flexibility ability to do a bunch of things. Some of the many things coming to the server in the future are a game fact, a huge collection of tips and tricks, decent beginner guides, and this, by the way, astonishes me that the official Discord still has very outdated beginner guides embedded in their beginner guide section, which I don't think is great for new players. And I'm also creating a quiz feature just as a way to gamify learning and useful information of the game and its mechanics. I also aim to create fairly easy overviews and introductions to core game strategies, and so on. But beyond writing and creating these things, I'm spending quite some time to just think through how to best organize all of this so that it's easy to access and digestible without ending up with a very bloated and disorganized Discord server. And beyond helpful tower content, there's scope to consider a bunch of other social and fun stuff. And since we're flexible and in control there, feel free to suggest what you'd like to see, and overall how it could be different and better than the official Discord. I can't guarantee I'll be able to grant every wish, but I will try. And there's also a suggestion channel on the Discord itself where you can share your thoughts as well. And so yeah, I'm glad we were able to help a lot of people find or start a guild, and as mentioned, if you're still looking for one, we'll help you out as well. And as for my own guild, we're also full, and it was immensely hard to recruit for this as I had to reject so many great people, but I did my best to try to help anyone rejected to end up in all the good spots. That was quite intense honestly, and I don't like to reject people and would have loved to have a larger guild size to have more of you in it. That being said though, I'm honored to have this great guild that I've ended up with. These are all very talented people, many who undoubtedly know more about the game than I do, and who are further along in the game than me. And in the guild, we also got a familiar face, the great content creator JP978, or as many of you know him, Jeff. And undoubtedly, this will most likely lead to some relevant collabs together in the future, which I'm excited about. And if you have thoughts of what kind of collabs you think we should do in the future, let us know in the comments. So yeah, things looking great overall for the Discord server, but with lots of more exciting things coming in the future. And very lastly, as part of the overall upgrades and enhancements to the channel, I'm doing some rebranding that you will see in the time ahead. Firstly, I wanted to tweak my logo a bit so that it's not a potential future copyright issue with the game itself, and so you'll see the logo change somewhat. Secondly, you'll also see me finally making some proper thumbnails and overall just a bit more consistent and cleaner branding. I will not spend overly much time on this though, as I think the most important thing is the actual content that I'm bringing and my critical analysis of whatever it may be, but it will be a nice addition. So I guess just be aware that my logo and thumbnail will be looking quite different soon. And this is just a sneak peek and not finished, but it may roughly look something like this. And as always, if you ever have feedback on anything related to my content or Discord or livestream or rebranding or whatever else, please do not hesitate to share, as I always try to improve and to get better at helping people. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to cover for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see some of you at the Lucky Draw livestream. Bye. Okay, if you stuck with me through all of that, then kudos to you. Now let's do a little bit of a hidden Easter egg module poll. Let's do the new featured banner until we're down at 2,000 gems or have gotten 4 copies. Alright, so let's do this. Great start. Great start. Very good. What do you mean I'm offline? I'm not offline, I'm clearly online. I am not offline. Okay, I might have to restart again. Oh, we got it working. Yikes. Okay, let's see where this is going. Incredible. Wow, 0. Boo-hoo.